Support for the Channel StageOne series comes from The Music Box, a podcast from Louisville Public Media where families can explore music together. This week's episode explores what happens when art and music collide. Follow the show wherever podcasts are available.
Hello, and welcome back to Channel StageOne. I'm Allison, the prop master here at StageOne, and today we have a really fun activity for you. We are going to take your old, broken crayons, and we are going to make them into fun, new, exciting crayons. So the way you're going to do that is if you have all of your old crayons, go ahead and get them out, and I want you to sort them into colors. So if they're green, sort all the shades of green. Sort all the shades of blue, red, all of those. And then we're going to talk about how we can make new crayons, maybe new colors or a new experience with crayons. And that all is based in the world of color. Color is something that is very important in theater. We a lot of times design shows around color palettes. So complementary colors, we'll design a show that says, hey, this is the shades of colors I'd like to be in. Our set designers and costume designers talk about that all the time. Or we say we want the show to feel warm or the show to feel cold. And color is a great way to make those things feel warm or cold. In fact, when you look at the color wheel, which I have right here, this color wheel happens to say cool colors and then warm colors. Cool colors are exactly what you think of when you think of the word cold. You're going to think of blues, you're going to think of greens, you're going to think of anything that feels cold. Maybe some some purples. That's going to be in your cool colors. When you think of warm, what do you think of? You think of fire, you think of heat. And what colors do you associate with that? You're going to think of your oranges and your reds and your yellows. And that is really how we think about it when we say a cool palette or a warm palette. The other important thing to think about is that when you have a color wheel like this, a lot of the colors are complementary that are across the way, like across from each other on the color wheel. So if you think about Christmas and you think of green and you think of red, that is because on the color wheel, they are complementary colors. They are across from each other on the color wheel. Blue and orange are complementary colors. Purple and yellow are complementary colors. Those colors look nice together. They're pleasing to the eye. So that's something else really important to think about when you think about color. So the color wheel is something that we use a lot and we always think about. So we're going to do that today when we make our crayons. So what you're going to do after you've sorted out your colors, I have mine sorted here. I have the greens, my blues, my yellows, my purple, or my reds and my pinks, orange and purples. The next step is, of course, get the wrapping off. You want to take your crayons and you want them bare so they look like this. I have broken pieces as well that I've gone ahead and taken the wrapping off. So the next thing you're going to want to do is kind of determine how you want your crown to be made. There's two methods we're going to do. I'm going to make one in the microwave, and then I'm going to do one on this stove top that I have right here. For the first one we're going to do is the one in the microwave, and I'm going to have this really cool silicone mold that's in the shape of Kentucky. So when I think of Kentucky, I think of the bluegrass. So I'm going to do greens and blues today to make a new crayon. So I'm going to pull out 3 colors of green, 3 crayons of green, and I'm going to pull out 3 crayons of blue. I want my proportions to be the same, so if you have like a really long crayon, pull 2 out that you think will equal that really long crayon, and then kind of the same sizes of colors. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a sandwich bag, and I'm going to put all the crayons in that bag. And I'm going to close it up. And I have a hammer, but you could really use any type of heavy object. You could use a can of corn. You could use a rolling pin. If you have a hammer and you feel comfortable using a hammer, go ahead and use that. And what you're going to do is you're just going to loosely break up the crayons. I don't want it to be a fine dust. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm just kind of looking for chunks. So as you can see, I've kind of got big chunks in my bag. And then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to just grab and fill in the mold, the silicone mold of the chunks. You want it to go above the silicone mold. You don't want it to be even with the silicone mold. You want it to have sort of maybe a dome quality to it because there's air in with the chunks. So as it melts, that air escapes and it lowers down the mold or the crown. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and fill up a couple more of these while I keep talking. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a microwave, and I am just going to microwave this for 30-second intervals. And I'm going to keep checking it. Because with when you do the microwave, I want to see the swirls. I don't want to blend it into another color. We're going to actually blend some crowns to make a new color on the stovetop, but with the microwave, I want there to be a separate color of blue and green going into this mold. So I'm going to just do 30-second intervals, and I'm going to check. So I don't have a microwave here. We're going to stop right now. I'm going to go microwave this, and then I'm going to kind of show you the end result. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have taken that Kentucky mold, and I put it in the microwave. It took about 5 or 6 minutes and to really melt the crowns. And as I was doing it, I could see the level really dropping. So if you want to add more blue and green or more whatever colors you've chosen into the mold to fill it up so it's a more solid, you totally can. The next thing we're going to do is, using that same color theory, we are going to make a new color with our existing crown. So I have this really pretty roses mold that I'm going to go ahead and use on the stovetop. So if you're going to try this method, you really need an adult to supervise, because the stovetop is something that needs to be monitored because it's hot and can burn you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my stovetop. I have this mini one right here. I'm just going to put it on medium heat. I think roses are beautiful, so I would like to use some purples, and I'm going to add some pinks and maybe a red, just to make a bit of more of a lighter purple for this rose. Yeah, so I have in my hands some purple and some pinks. So if you try this method, you don't really have to break up the crowns like we did for the other ones, because we're not pouring it directly into the mold. We're going to melt the crown first and then pour it into the mold. So as my pan kind of gets hot, also I'm using kind of one of my dingy pans that I don't mind putting non-food things in. So also keep that in mind when you do this. So I'm just going to let the stove kind of preheat. Okay, so my pan has started to get hot enough. I'm going to go ahead and drop the purples in first. And because I want this to be more purple than pink, I'm going to add some more purple. And these, even though these are varying shades of purple, I'm still going to get that purple hue I want. So maybe that's a really cool thing, is that you just put in all of the purples you have and see what shade pops out. Whether you have really light purples or really dark purples, or any color really. You put different shades in and see what's the strongest shade that comes out of it. All right, my purples are pretty much melted, if you can kind of see maybe. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add in my couple of pinks. And get those melted, and then I'll mix. I have one more pink, or I have two more pinks that I'm going to also throw in. Okay, so my crayons are all liquid now, and I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my rolls mold. And again, this is something that you're going to want to be very careful with and have an adult around to do. So I'm going to slowly pour it in. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off my stovetop. And I'm going to smooth this out with a popsicle stick. You can maybe use a knife. So I'm going to, unlike when the microwave where you had to keep adding, because this is already melted, I can go ahead and smooth it out. So that any excess can I can maybe push it into one that didn't fill up all the way. And now you're going to let this sit until it solidifies and dries up. So we're going to let both of these crowns solidify and dry up, and then I'm going to pop them out and show you what we've done. All right, guys. So I've allowed my molds to cool, and I did a couple extra. I did a turtle mold that I kind of combined the two techniques, and then I just had some extra crayons left over, and I did 2 checker pieces in a die. So the first one I'm going to do is Kentucky, and if you can kind of see, I'm going to try to do that. You could have added more layers to it so it made it a little thicker, but what you're going to do is just with the silicone mold, you just kind of start pushing it out and sort of breaking around the edges. Right. So here is a Crown Kentucky, a beautiful bluegrass. And if you can kind of see with this one, there is like definitive blue and green colors. They're not mixed together. It's two, you can see both colors. Whereas with the purple one we did, and in the rose, it is one solid color. It is a purple that we lightened up with pink, but I'm not sure how much lighten we did. I would have had to add more pink, I think. But you can kind of see the 2 different techniques, whereas this is very clearly 2 different colors. This was melting colors in together. I attempted in my turtle mold kind of doing both, where I made a red that I mixed together, but then put chunks of yellow in it, like in the first layer, and then poured the hot crown on top of it. So let's see what that did. I wasn't really sure what it was going to do. I kind of just experimented with it. So yeah, you can kind of see that it's predominantly red, but there's still yellow chunks that have popped through. I think that's really cool. And that's like combining the 2 techniques of doing one like liquid pour, but then laying a base of crayons on top of it. So this is recycling crayons and a little bit of color theory. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was fun. I had fun doing it, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching Channel StageOne. If you enjoyed this video, follow the link below to donate. Have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Thanks.